Welcome to the DIY Honda Garage channel. The DTC P0460 indicates a malfunction in the fuel level sensor, specifically the fuel gauge sending unit, which is responsible for relaying the fuel level information to the vehicle's onboard computer system. This error suggests that the readings from the fuel level sensor are incorrect, meaning the fuel level could be reported inaccurately to the driver. The fuel gauge sending unit is located in the fuel tank and is essential for providing accurate fuel level readings to the gauge on the dashboard. It works by varying its resistance depending on the fuel level, allowing the gauge to reflect an accurate reading. If the sensor fails, it can lead to operational inefficiencies and inconvenience for the driver, preventing proper fuel management. Troubleshooting this DTC involves a series of methodical steps to ensure that all components related to the fuel level reading are functioning correctly. The DTC P0460 pertains to an issue with the fuel level sensor, also known as the fuel gauge sending unit. This component plays a critical role in measuring the amount of fuel in the tank and communicating this value to the engine control unit, ECU, via voltage signals. If the sensor reports values that are outside an acceptable range, the system flags this error. The fuel level sensor is situated within the fuel tank itself, where it monitors and adjusts its resistance according to the fuel level. When the fuel level changes, the sensor alters the voltage signals sent to the vehicle's gauge, allowing the driver to see how much fuel remains. If it fails or operates incorrectly, it can lead to inaccurate readings, indicating falsely low or high fuel levels. There are several possible causes for the DTC P0460 to appear. A shorted wire condition could exist between the gauge control module and the fuel tank unit, leading to incorrect voltage readings. This scenario often eliminates the effectiveness of the fuel level sensor. An open circuit in the wiring can also be a culprit, where broken or disconnected wires prevent proper communication between the fuel gauge and the sensor. Additionally, the fuel gauge sending unit itself might fail or malfunction, giving erroneous readings. Lastly, a defect in the gauge control module can create issues with processing the signals received from the fuel level sensor, resulting in a system failure. It's essential to consider each of these possibilities during troubleshooting to pinpoint the exact issue affecting the system. Symptoms associated with DTC P0460 primarily revolve around inaccurate or unstable fuel gauge readings. Drivers may experience an inconsistent fuel gauge where the display fails to correctly represent the amount of fuel available. This can manifest as the fuel gauge remaining stuck on empty, even when the tank is full, or fluctuating between high and low readings unpredictably. In some cases, intermittent alerts may occur, indicating low fuel when enough fuel is present. These symptoms not only create confusion, but can also lead to unanticipated fuel shortages while driving, highlighting the urgency of addressing the issue as soon as possible. Observing these symptoms should prompt a comprehensive diagnostic approach to ascertain the root cause of the malfunction. The first step in troubleshooting DTC P0460 involves verifying the problem with the vehicle's ignition system. Begin by turning the vehicle's ignition to the on position without starting the engine. This activates the vehicle's electrical systems and prepares for diagnostic testing. Following this, use the Honda Diagnostics System, HDS, to clear the stored DTCs, which resets the system and allows for fresh data to be collected. After clearing the codes, wait for approximately 10 seconds before checking for any pending or confirmed DTCs again using the HDS. It is crucial to determine whether DTC P0460 reappears at this stage. If P0460 is confirmed, you proceed to the next step in the troubleshooting process. If it does not appear, it could indicate an intermittent issue, necessitating a close inspection of connections and terminals. In the second step of troubleshooting, you will focus on checking the wiring associated with the fuel gauge. First, ensure the vehicle is in the off or lock mode to avoid any unsafe electrical conditions during testing. Next, you'll need to remove the gauge control module, which is typically located behind the dashboard and requires careful handling to access. After removal, disconnect the fuel tank unit's 4P connector and the gauge control module connector A. This step is necessary to isolate the circuit for accurate testing. You will then check for continuity between the designated test points in the wiring to identify whether a short exists in the fuel gauge plus line. Proper conditions for this test require the vehicle to be powered off and the specified connectors disconnected, ensuring a clean test environment for accurate diagnosis. Step 3 involves checking for an open circuit in the fuel gauge plus line by performing a continuity test. After disconnecting the necessary connectors, connect terminals A and B with a jumper wire. Terminal A connects to fuel tank unit 4P connector, female terminal number 2, and terminal B connects to the vehicle's body ground. This means you are effectively grounding the fuel gauge line to verify continuity. Once these connections are made, check for continuity between the specified test points, gauge control module connector A, terminal number 22, and body ground. If continuity exists, this confirms that the fuel gauge plus wire is intact and functional, allowing you to proceed to the next step. If continuity does not exist, it indicates an open circuit that may need repairing between the gauge control module and the fuel tank unit. The fourth troubleshooting step is similar to the previous check, but focuses on the fuel gauge line this time. Remove the jumper wire used in the last step and replace it with a new jumper wire that connects Terminal A at the fuel tank unit 4P connector, female terminals number 4, to the body ground. This action is necessary to ensure that we're confirming the functionality of the fuel gauge circuitry. With this new connection in place, check for continuity between the specified test points. Gauge control module connector A, number 21, and body ground. If you find continuity, it indicates that the fuel gauge line is operational and intact. However, if no continuity is detected, that indicates the presence of an open circuit in that wiring, necessitating a repair to ensure proper function between the gauge control module and the fuel tank unit. The final troubleshooting step focuses on assessing the fuel gauge sending unit itself. After all jumper wires are removed, you will conduct a test on the fuel gauge sending unit for functionality. This unit is integral in communicating the fuel level data correctly to the gauge on the dashboard. If testing reveals that the fuel gauge sending unit is functioning correctly, then the issue may lie within the gauge control module. In this case, you will need to replace the gauge control module to resolve the DTC P0460 issue. Conversely, if the sending unit fails testing, it indicates that replacement of the fuel gauge sending unit is necessary. Completing both tests will ensure you identify the faulty component and restore the vehicle's fuel level monitoring capability. After completing the necessary repairs based on the previous troubleshooting steps, the final repair verification is crucial in ensuring that the issue has been effectively resolved. Begin this stage by clearing the DTCs once again with the Honda Diagnostic System, HDS. This resets the vehicle's systems, allowing for a fresh evaluation of the repair's success. Following this, run the vehicle through its normal operational cycles to verify that everything is functioning optimally and that the fuel gauge accurately reads the fuel level. Monitor the system closely to check for any pending DTCs that could resurface. If DTC P0460 or others related do not return, it indicates successful repairs, and the vehicle should now operate normally. Preventive maintenance is essential to avoid future occurrences of DTC P0460 and maintain the reliability of your vehicle's fuel monitoring system. Start by regularly checking the accuracy of your fuel gauge readings to identify potential issues before they escalate into serious problems. Additionally, inspect the wiring conditions associated with both the fuel gauge sending unit and the gauge control module. Over time, wires can wear down or get damaged, leading to performance issues. Ensure that all connectors related to these components are kept clean and free of corrosion, which can hinder electrical communication. By taking these preventive steps, you can enhance the longevity and reliability of your vehicle's fuel level sensing system. In conclusion, DTC P0460 represents a malfunction in the fuel level sensor, indicating its failure to provide accurate fuel level information. Throughout the troubleshooting process, it is vital to methodically check each aspect, including the wiring integrity for both the fuel gauge plus and fuel gauge minus lines, as well as the condition of the sending unit and gauge control module. Each component plays a crucial role in delivering reliable fuel readings to the driver, ensuring that the vehicle functions smoothly. Should problems persist after addressing faulty components, continuous monitoring and preventive maintenance can safeguard against future issues. Keeping your vehicle in optimal condition not only enhances safety, but also promotes better fuel management. Please like and subscribe to the channel. See you next time.